Thank you, Your Excellencies. Between 2010 and 2017, the most climate vulnerable countries received less than $20 per person per year in adaptation financing. That underinvestment is deadly. The vast majority, up to 60% of disaster-related deaths, continue to occur in vulnerable countries. That number will rise, potentially exponentially, if the gap between adaptation needs and adaptation financing persists. The rationale for why at least half of climate finance must go towards adaptation is quite clear, as is the importance of that funding being extremely affordable. And of course, developed nations should deliver the finance they pledge to deliver. Irrespective of the failure to mobilize $100 billion by 2020, developed countries must still be focused on ensuring $500 billion in aggregate is deployed in total over the 2020-2025 period. We can rebuild confidence and trust between nations if we act now to prevent those failures from becoming precedent and get to work reshaping and rethinking the international climate financing regime. We have a clear performance indicator, whether or not finance flows to the most climate vulnerable countries. To move both from billions to trillions whilst also improving the quality and effectiveness of adaptation and mitigation focused financing, we need to create greater credibility through increased predictability under the Paris Agreement. Furthermore, income status is of one many-dimensional metrics. It cannot serve as the bedrock of decision-making. The calculus is actually more complex, and the central logic directing climate finance flow should be centered on climate vulnerability. Our world is not one-dimensional, neither are our problems, challenges, and indeed decisions. Finally, we must dispel the developed world's loss and damage taboo. We cannot adapt ecosystems that have already been irreversibly altered or retrofit communities that are already on the edge of uninhabitability. High emitters cannot have their cake and eat it too if we are to restore trust, regain confidence, and reinstall good faith in light of the gaps and discrepancies that have hindered our efforts to build a safe future. We need dedicated and additional financing to offset the burden of climate impacts that we don't have the ability or opportunity to curtail, mitigate, or dampen. Last but not least, this must go well beyond the rigid, narrow scope of insurance and risk transfer. This needs to be about getting finance to those that have lost what cannot be replaced as a result of this battle. Those who must be given the opportunity that is consistent with basic human rights at the core of the Paris Agreement. Thank you.